and a path to stability for those who are ready to change their lives. We have designed a security strategy that protects both the people inside our facility and the neighbors in the surrounding community. Our facility will be fully staffed 24/7 by trained professionals who specialize in trauma-informed care, mental health, de-escalation, and emergency response. In addition, we will maintain 24/7 on-site security, personnel who monitor entry and exit points, oversee camera surveillance, and help de-escalate any emergent situation. Every floor will be monitored and access controlled to ensure a safe, stable environment for all residents and the surrounding neighborhood. The building itself will be equipped with modern security features, including keycard access and internal and external surveillance. Every resident in the treatment and supportive housing sections must complete a thorough intake process before being admitted. Rules around curfew, respectful conduct, and participation in programming are clearly defined, and staff are trained to respond quickly and effectively to any incidents. These safeguards are not punitive. They are there to maintain safety, structure, and a healing environment. Our services are built to support people while protecting the integrity of the community. In our commitment to transparency and collaboration, we proudly maintain an open-door policy with local law enforcement. Officers are welcome to enter the facility at any time, whether to conduct welfare checks, offer support, or collaborate on diversion cases. This partnership ensures that we are not operating in isolation, but as a trusted and accountable part of the Dickinson's public safety network. Our goal is to be a good neighbor by investing in recovery, reentry, and housing. We are building a safer, more compassionate future for everyone. The purpose of the facility. The core purpose of this facility is to meet people where they are and walk alongside them towards stability. We recognize that many in our community face complex challenges, housing instability, substance use, and justice system involvement. This facility provides a structured alternative that is more effective, more humane, and more affordable than repeated incarceration or emergency room visits. The supportive care shelter is a critical step toward reducing homelessness, decreasing recidivism, and improving public safety. The benefits for our community are far-reaching. Families will be able to stay together during recovery. Law enforcement will have a diversion option that does not rely solely on jail. Employers will have access to a more stable, job-ready population, and perhaps most importantly, our neighborhoods will be safer and more connected. When we invest in people, we invest in the health and the future of our entire community. This project was made possible thanks to the incredible generosity of a local angel investor who purchased the former Evergreen building and is leasing it to United Way Dickinson under a 10-year business plan. This means that we are able to begin without taking money from the city or placing the financial burden on taxpayers. I want to make it very clear, United Way Dickinson has not once asked for financial assistance from the city or the county. This project was built through partnerships, private investment, and grants, not through tax increases or city budget reallocations. We also have a long-term sustainability plan in place to ensure that taxpayers will never have to shoulder the cost of this facility. Our future ownership of the building within 3 years and our ability to generate consistent revenue through billable services will keep the project self-sustainable. Our development plan, including a full renovation of the facility to meet state and federal standards for emergency shelter, treatment, and transitional housing. The upgrades focus on privacy, security, and accessibility, including ADA compliance and trauma-informed design. We are not just renovating a building, we are transforming it into a place of hope, healing, and community care. The executive summary of the financial stability and secure grants. We have worked hard to ensure this facility is financially sustainable from day one. So far, we have secured a significant portion of our startup capital, including a $640,000 implementation grant from Common Spirit Health. We are also eligible for a $1 million Home Art grant from the state of North Dakota, which can be released once the facility is fully operational. Additionally, we are actively seeking to secure a $3.5 million grant from the Federal Home Loan Bank of Des Moines, Iowa. However, eligibility for this grant requires that we have the facility secured and operational. These combined resources are intended to support development, acquisition, and early operations, forming a strong launchpad for this initiative. In addition, once the facility is fully operational, we will become eligible for many more state and federal grants that are currently inaccessible. These include larger programmatic grants for ongoing services, staffing, and facility upgrades, ensuring continued support well into the future. But sustainability does not end with grants. We have built a long-term financial model based on billing for services that are already reimbursed by the state and federal government. Programs like Free Through Recovery, Community Connect, Medicaid, and SUD vouchers allow us to provide high-quality services while ensuring the costs are covered. Our facility will also generate revenue through income-based rent from supportive housing clients, all while maintaining affordability for participants. Funding through billable services. Our partnership with the SWMCCC gives us the ability to provide clinical treatment services that are billable through Medicaid, Medicaid expansion, IHS, and private insurance. This includes inpatient treatment, outpatient treatment, aftercare, and chemical dependency evaluations. These services are not just medically necessary, they are revenue generating, which helps keep the entire facility financially stable. In addition, United Way Dickinson will provide case management and peer support services reimbursed by programs like Community Connect, Free Through Recovery in 1959. Each participant in these programs brings in a monthly reimbursement that directly supports their care. This model means that we are not relying on donations or grants alone. We are leveraging existing systems to ensure ongoing funding. Projected annual revenue from billable services. At full capacity, our facility is projected to generate over $4.2 million annually in revenue from program-based billing and housing. This includes $3.7 million from treatment services, nearly $250,000 from Free Through Recovery and Community Connect, and $180,000 in income-based rent from supportive housing clients. Even at half or quarter capacity, the facility generates enough revenue to remain fully operational. This means we can be flexible and scale up or down depending on demand without compromising quality or safety. It also means that this project does not require financial support from the city. We have built a sustainable business plan that supports the mission while remaining fiscally responsible. Ongoing grant funding opportunities. Beyond our secured funding, we have access to numerous additional grant opportunities. These include federal programs like HUD's Continuum of Care, SAMHSA, and the Department of Justice Second Act Chance. On the state level, we are eligible for grants from the North Dakota Behavioral Health Division, Emergency Solution Grants, and Housing Finance Agency support. These sources can help us enhance programming, support staffing, and invest in long-term improvements. We also have strong relationships with health systems, funders, and philanthropic partners, including Common Spirit Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Dakota, and the Bush Foundation. Our experience in grant writing and reporting ensures that we will continue to bring in funding that matches our growth and deepens our impact. The financial plan. Our financial plan is designed to ensure sustainability, flexibility, and transparency. We are operating under a clear cost revenue structure that aligns with program goals and occupancy levels. At full capacity, our annual operating cost is projected at $1.2 million when compared to our projected revenue of over $4.2 million. This gives us an annual surplus that allows for reinvestment into staff development, building improvements, and expansions on services. Just as importantly, I want to emphasize again that United Way Dickinson has not asked for any money from the city or county that would place a burden on any taxpayer. This plan was built to operate independently and responsibly without shifting financial strain onto our local government. We have also created cost models for operating at half and quarter capacity. This means that if referrals fluctuate or community needs shifts, we can adapt quickly without sacrificing quality or exhausting resources. We are committed to being good stewards of every dollar entrusted to us, and this plan reflects that responsibility. Facility overview. The Supportive Care Shelter is a 3-story facility with 79 rooms that includes emergency shelter, treatment services, transitional housing, and supportive living, all under one roof. Each area of the building is designed to meet the specific needs of its residents while maintaining security, dignity, and access to essential services. Every room in the facility is private and includes its own restroom and shower, which is a rare but crucial feature that promotes health, dignity, and trauma-informed care. Each area is complemented by essential offices and/or treatment rooms to ensure on-site clinical support, care coordination, case management, and operational efficiency. Additional amenities include a commercial kitchen, laundry facilities, and classrooms. We also have secure access points, camera surveillance in common areas, and trauma-informed design throughout the building. This building is not just a shelter, it's a place of recovery, restoration, and hope for the individuals and families we serve. The facility use first floor, the emergency shelter, and the House of Manna if it fits necessary. The first floor serves as the primary entry point for many of our clients. It houses 13 emergency shelter rooms. The emergency shelter rooms include secure, gender-specific wings for men and women with private bathrooms and showers in each room. The House of Manna has also expressed interest in permanently relocating to this facility pending city support and consideration. If the city sees this as a positive community resource and determines that it would not cause significant traffic or logistical concerns, the House of Manna could expand its services in a centralized and secure location. This floor also includes a large dining area, commercial kitchen for meal prep, staff offices, a laundry room, and a quiet room for decompression. Our intake desk and security station are located here, offering 24/7 support, safety checks, and access control by placing emergency shelter and immediate assistance on the first floor. We provide a low barrier, welcoming point of entry to stabilization and further care. If the House of Manna is determined to be a good fit for the facility and does not pose substantial traffic or operational concerns, they have expressed interest in becoming a permanent part of this project. Should the city and the community find value in its presence, the following is what the House of Manna would provide. The House of Manna offers immediate assistance to individuals and families in crisis. It provides access to hygiene products, household items, clothing, bedding, and other essentials that help people meet their basic needs. This service would be open to both facility residents and the public, referred members of the community who may not be living in the building but are in need of the support. The space is designed with privacy and security in mind. It will be housed in a dedicated, secure section of the first floor, separated from the residential shelter areas. Access will be controlled and monitored, with operations managed by the House of Manna staff in partnership with United Way Dickinson. This collaboration will ensure that services are accessible, respectful, and contribute positively to the recovery-focused environment of the entire facility. The second floor. The second floor is fully dedicated to inpatient, outpatient, aftercare treatment for substance use disorders, providing 24 private rooms for individuals who need a structured and intensive recovery environment. This floor will support both men and women in recovery with gender-separated wings and secure hallway designs. Residents will participate in daily treatment groups, individual counseling, peer recovery sessions, and case management. Each treatment room has a private room and shower, and the floor includes therapy, offices, group rooms, and case management spaces. Residents will also receive life skill coaching and vocational support. This space is designed to provide stability, accountability, and encouragement during one of the most valuable stages of recovery. On the third floor, so as you can see, there is a typo. It does say 42 rooms, but there is only 30 rooms. The third floor supports individuals and families who are transitioning out of homelessness, treatment, or the justice system into greater independence. With 30 rooms total, this level includes wings for single women, single men, and families. There are 5 dedicated rooms for families with children, and 5 flex rooms to accommodate overflow or special placement needs. All rooms feature private bathrooms and are designed to reflect home-like comfort and safety. The individuals who live on the third floor are part of the supportive housing program. These residents have demonstrated a level of stability that allows them to work in the community while continuing to receive support services. As part of the transitional model, residents pay income-based rent to United Way Dickinson, helping them build responsibility while contributing to the sustainability of the program. The floor also includes classrooms for budgeting, parenting, and employment readiness, as well as a study area and a child-friendly space. This level is staffed by care coordinators and peer support specialists who will help residents achieve goals such as securing housing, reuniting with family, or obtaining employment. It is the final step in the continuum of care before full independence. The cross-cutting features and safety measures. Across all 3 floors, we have designed features that prioritize dignity, safety, and trauma-informed care. Every room has its own shower and bathroom, reducing the risk of confrontation and promoting autonomy. Keycard access limits movement to the designated areas, creating secure wings for men, women, staff, and family. Security cameras are placed in common areas and hallways, but never in rooms or bathrooms to protect privacy while maintaining an oversight. There are designated spaces for staff on each floor. Our entire facility is ADA compliant, equipped with emergency lighting, exits, and disaster preparedness tools. Every staff member is trained in trauma-informed care and de-escalation techniques. Safety and compassion are built into the foundation of this program. Licensing and compliance. Our facility will operate in full compliance with all local, state, and federal regulations. That includes emergency shelter licensing, inpatient and outpatient treatment licensure, and housing standards for supportive living. We also adhere to the HIPAA privacy regulations for all clinical records and services, as well as 42 CFR Part 2 for substance use information confidentiality. We have designed our services and facility to meet the highest standards of care while remaining adaptable to evolve state and federal policies. ADA accessibility, staff credentials, supervision requirements, and emergency protocols are all part of our compliance framework. This is not only about meeting requirements, it's about honoring the responsibility we have to our clients and community. Operational overview. Flexible capacity management. One of the most important features of our model is flexibility. We understand that demand for services can change, so we have built a system that can operate efficiently at full, half, or even quarter capacity. This allows us to adjust staffing, program delivery, and facility use without compromising the core mission of safety and support. When at full capacity, all programs and rooms are open. When at half or quarter capacity, we scale services accordingly, consolidating wings, adjusting staffing shifts, and prioritizing high-need populations. This ensures that even during times of limited demand or funding, we can keep our doors open and our services strong. Full-scale service model. When the facility operates at maximum capacity, every wing and service is fully activated. This includes 79 total rooms, 13 emergency shelter rooms, 24 treatment rooms, and 30 transitional supportive housing rooms. All core programs run simultaneously, including inpatient treatment, outpatient treatment, aftercare treatment, case management, peer support, and family reunification services. The daily schedule at full capacity includes 3 meals, structured groups, counseling, vocational classes, and residential activities. This ensures consistency and engagement, which are critical to successful recovery and reintegration. Staffing at full capacity, the facility operates all wings simultaneously, requiring a robust staffing structure that includes 1 facility director, 1 clinical supervisor, 4 to 5 licensed addiction counselors, case managers, 4 to 6 case managers, 4 to 6 peer support specialists, 4 to 6 security personnel, which is a 24-hour cycle, at least 2 on site at all times, kitchen and custodial staff, 2 to 3 full-time employees in the kitchen, 1 to 2 administrative support. Each floor is assigned at least 1 licensed staff member, 1 peer support specialist, and 24/7 security coverage. This full staffing ensures all programs can be delivered at high quality while maintaining safety and compliance. In terms of staffing, the full capacity model includes multiple shifts of licensed clinicians, peer support specialists, kitchen and janitorial staff, and on-site security for every floor at this level. The facility also coordinates closely with community partners like law enforcement, probation officers, employers, and health providers to maintain continuity of care. Operating at full scale means we are reaching the highest number of individuals possible while maintaining high quality services. It is the most effective and impactful use of our resource. Half-scale service model. At the half-scale capacity, the facility operates approximately 35 to 40 rooms with a strategic focus on the most essential services, emergency shelter, inpatient treatment, and housing for high-need families remaining the core priorities. To ensure quality of care, groups are smaller, around 6 to 8 participants, allowing for more personalized attention. Some areas of the facility may be closed to reduce costs, and administrative hours may be consolidated. Staffing at half capacity includes 1 facility director, 1 clinical supervisor, 2 to 3 licensed addiction counselors, 3 to 5 case managers, 2 to 3 peer support specialists, residential aides, 2 to 3 security personnel, 1 to 2 kitchen and custodial staff, and 1 administrative support. Staff may cover multiple roles or rotate between wings as needed. The facility remains operational with full compliance and care quality, though select areas may be temporarily closed to control cost. Staffing is scaled accordingly. The facility director and clinical supervisor remain full-time with 1 to 2 licensed addiction counselors, 3 to 5 case managers, and 2 peer support specialists per shift. Overnight staffing and security coverage are maintained but adjusted to match usage. This model preserves core programming while optimizing cost efficiency. It is ideal during periods of lower demand or funding while still meeting the needs of those in critical situations. Operating at quarter capacity. Quarter capacity operations supports 15 to 20 individuals with focus narrowed to emergency shelter, urgent treatment, and essential supportive housing. The program prioritizes clients with the highest level of need, such as detox patients, families, and justice-involved individuals. Group sizes shrink to 1 to 2 small cohorts, and small wings are closed to reduce overhead. Staffing at quarter capacity includes a facility director, 1 to 2 licensed addiction counselors, 2 to 3 case managers, 1 to 2 peer supports, residential aides, 1 to 2 security personnel, 1 to 2 kitchen and custodial staff, and a part-time to a full-time administrative support. Despite smaller numbers, the staff are required and trained to maintain all safety and recovery standards. Even in low-capacity scenarios, residents receive support tailored to their urgent needs, maintaining the integrity of care and the mission. Staffing and supervision. To ensure consistent care and safety, the facility will be staffed 24/7 with a combination of licensed treatment professionals, case management, peer support specialists, security personnel, and operations staff. Each floor will have designated staff assigned to that unit, and supervisors will oversee operations across the building. This round-the-clock presence creates a predictable, safe environment that encourages accountability and fosters relationships between staff and residents. Staffing levels will be adjusted based on facility occupancy. For example, during quarter capacity operations, staffing will be consolidated while maintaining appropriate coverage for all services. At full capacity, multiple staff shifts will cover days, evenings, nights, weekends, and holidays. We are also prioritizing the recruitment of individuals with lived experience, clinical credentials, and trauma-informed training to build a workforce that reflects both professional and human compassion. So as this map right here, you can see, so where it says the homeless shelter, that is the Southwestern District Health Unit. The supportive care shelter is the old Evergreen building where we are trying to put this facility. And across the street, straight north of that, is the Hope's Landing. Yes, and the crisis center is located west, just a few blocks of this facility. As you guys know, I know a lot of people have been worried about the safety with this type of facility. In this neighborhood, there's already a lot of low-income individuals, followed by 2 sober living houses and the crisis unit. And in the wintertime, we also put in the
Excuse me, sir, you just said that the people are low. Would you repeat that one?
There is low-income individuals in the neighborhood. Yes, sir.
Are you calling us low income?
No, absolutely not. That's not.
I think you're being insulted.
No, sir.
Yes, you are.
So continue to what I was saying. In the neighborhood up there north by the Hope's Landing, in those apartments is low-income individuals. So in this entire neighborhood, you have 3 facilities: the 2 sober livings and the crisis unit already in this neighborhood.
But those are further to the north, correct?
Say that again, ma'am?
They're further to the north, right?
Yes, it's directly north. The sober living is directly north of this facility, about 300 yards to be exact.
At the Hope's Landing is the blue building. No, it's that red one. That
Yeah, it's the red.
Oh,
red.
yeah, but, you know, and then just north of that is Country House.
Yep.
Residential. And then he's saying those apartments that are up in the upper right-hand corner are the low income. Correct.
By state standards, they're classified
Yes.
So he's saying that there's already low income in this area.
Yes, ma'am.
Low income is very different than homeless.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
And if he buildings right there hard facts,
So,
I
can,
can give you one real quick cold hard facts.
and you absolutely can, ma'am. Can we finish the presentation and then there'll be time for questions and comments after? Thank you.
So you don't wanna take any questions?
No, we're gonna have time for questions as soon as we're finished.
I have a quick question about the map, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
That crisis center, I know that it's a crisis center, it's the one across from the Lutheran Church, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is that?
So the crisis center is a part of the Badlands Human Service Center. That's for individuals that are dealing with a crisis situation, from addiction or mental health
So
crisis
it's like a
situation.
halfway house?
No, it's a crisis. So if somebody is dealing with a crisis situation, mental health or substance abuse, they are taken to that area right there.
Okay, I did not know that, thank you.
Yeah. And if you guys want to discuss what's on the map right now, we can certainly answer questions.
And, okay. So you didn't? Which No.
I'm not sure exactly which Lutheran church, but I know
It's
that
the one with
it's
the
right
peace
west.
Lutheran.
Which one?
Peace.
It is the Peace Lutheran Church.
Makes sense. I guess my question is, for the low income housing, which is up in the north, or the right, upper right hand corner of the map,
Yes, ma'am.
what's available for that? Because you're including this in your plan, because it's all right here in this area, in this map.
So could
Is
you
there
be,
availability in there for you to be transitioning, the people that are at your facility into
That-
these apartments here?
that is a very good question. That is something we'll definitely look into.
Because I know there's also low income more west too,
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
but,
Yeah, so in that, I'm not stating that directly around this facility is low income, but in the surrounding neighborhood, there are many low income apartments in this surrounding neighborhood.
there are in other areas of Dickinson also.
Of course there is.
No, but I think what people are getting a hang up is you're mentioning that. Why are you mentioning it?
Because a lot of the people's fear is these individuals, a lot of what is going on in this, we're not creating crime or bringing any other negative or bad individuals. They're just individuals that are falling on hard times, which are also classified as low income individuals.
Yes, you're talking about people that have mental disabilities, addictions, and homelessness on the main floor, and that brings a whole different fraction in than what Hope's Landing or even low income.
So Hope's Landing is strictly substance abuse and individuals dealing with addiction.
Yes, but they're on a very small scale.
We already have issues with them in our neighborhoods.
Yes.
Once already in our neighborhood, we already had issues. You wanna bring another facility in, we already have 3 in our facility.
And so the difference between those facilities and this facility is they don't have any case management on site, they don't have any security on site, they don't have any individuals. They're just a free-for-all, these individuals living at these facilities. And, absolutely. So, and then, like Tracy just said, in the last few winters, there has been a homeless shelter at the Southwestern District Health Unit. This facility will take or replace that facility. And I know because I've been there for the last 2 winters that there has been 0 problems with the individuals at the emergency shelter when they were placed there over the winter time.
Why can't you put it in the St. Joseph's Hospital?
This is the best place for that. There's not enough room in the old St. Joseph's Hospital for this type of facility.
Ma'am, can I ask what makes it okay to put it in the St. Joseph's building and put it in their neighborhood as opposed to putting it in your neighborhood? We're just moving it from one area of town to the other area of town.
Because at that point in time, it was a medical facility and it was used as such, and it was secured for that.
Okay, public health is also a medical facility. Hope's Landing is a medical facility.
Would you guys
CRE
consider
is
putting it
also
in your backyard?
If Hope's Landing is a medical facility, why don't we have people?
Huh?
It's kind of in my backyard.
I'm sorry, if Hope's Landing is a medical facility, why don't they have staff in there?
No, but I mean behind your residential area. You would, I don't buy that for a second.
Just not talking.
I do not buy that for a second. There is no way you would put this facility behind your home.
100%.
I absolutely would.
100%.
No, you.
Yes, I would.
Yes, you can sit and talk and say that you would, but you would not do it.
I absolutely would.
Well, if you're gonna make money off it, you probably would.
It's not. It's about helping the people. It's not about making
There's
money.
money involved here too.
We already have this problem in the community. There needs to be a solution in the community.
Yep, there's money involved.
There's no perfect place to put this facility, but if there was a place close to perfect, this would be it.
I don't buy that. It's residential, and there's a lot of children around.
I would disagree, sir, with it being a money issue, because there's several people in here who volunteered their time, who didn't make money, who housed the homeless shelter during the winter months. It was not an income for profit. We gave up time with our family. We brought our family there when we needed to. There was no issues. Nobody ran into concerns or problems. It was not an income for profit. It goes back to what Dakota stated. It was for families.
In regards to the children being around, in the old St. Joe's Hospital, there's one inpatient program, there's 2 outpatient treatment centers. At the same time, there's 2 daycares. There's never been an issue with the children being harmed or substances being given or dropped off or crime committed by those children while there are inpatient treatment programs there and outpatient programs.
So basically then, the opposing party, your views are based off of fear, not facts.
Okay, we're taking care of our livelihoods.
Let's stick to the facts. If you guys have questions, we can answer.
That's
So
very
I
offensive.
just want to hear what they have
Can-
to say, and then we can go
Yeah.
forward.
Thank you. Can we get back? Thank you. We'll go to the next slide.
Later.
So this, I'm going to let Tracy speak on. This is the traffic study that was done through the state.
So a couple people brought up at the first planning and zoning meeting, the traffic study. Well, most of you I recognize as local citizens of Dickinson. I'm not going to present myself as a North Dakota DOT traffic specialist, but Josh from the city helped me understand this. What we did is we pulled the traffic study on 21st and 6th, the 2 important corners. The highest volume of traffic, of course, was from 2012 to 2014. That intersection experienced about 6,900 passes a day, which is huge for Dickinson. To put that into terms, relative terms for people at the interstate by McDonald's and Lucky's and Circle K, that intersection experiences about 22,000 passes a day. So even in 2012 and 14, it was considered a moderate intersection for City of Dickinson standards. The next slide will show the passes, which the data came from 23, not 24, so it is a year old. The passes are roughly about 2,900 passes a day. So we're about a third of the passes now, and if you go there today with all the road construction, it is pretty interesting, I'll admit that. So there is traffic concerns always, but right now it would have to achieve a level of about 14,000 passes to get a traffic light there, or to do any modifications.
Sir, when I brought that up at the last zoning meeting, I was not concerned so much about
Mhm.
increased car traffic as I was increased pedestrian traffic. I
Correct.
really feel like the city needs, if this does go in, the city needs to put a lighted crosswalk, kind of like they put in by Blue 42.
Correct.
Because when you have this amount of people moving in, because when the Evergreen was there was not, their residents weren't walking around the neighborhood.
And that's a great point, but I could not find any data on how they track or register pedestrian traffic. So it's really kind of a hard thing for the
And
city
we might
or
have to
us or
write our
anything
own
to
data
track.
on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I know exactly what you mean. And I did reach out to the Stark County Sheriff's Office and the City of Dickinson, and they don't even have a way to keep records if there was ever any pedestrian accidents there. So we really couldn't find any pedestrian data to share with you guys. So that's kind of a hard one, you know.
Well, because you're in, like in that map,
Mm-hmm.
that intersection is what connects. They have to go, you know, that's where all the commerce goes.
Yep,
It goes from the residential to the commerce.
totally agree.
And I'm so concerned about that, because it's like I said at the meeting, it is difficult for families already living in that residential area to go back and forth, not only at 6th Ave, but also at, what is it? 10th. 10 is a 4-way stop, at least, so at least traffic's stopping. But, right across from Kosteleki, I think it's Prairie something road, Prairie Avenue, thank you. That one too, it's like playing Frogger almost.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
because it is a 25-mile-per-hour road.
And
People don't go 25 miles
Josh
per hour.
isn't here, but I don't know what it dictates to get one of those lights, so I'm not gonna pretend that I know that.
Yeah,
And I know when the city of Dickinson put the walk paths on Highway 22, the buttons were added later even on 22, so I don't know if there's pedestrian traffic counts or something that
but
they
that
do.
is a huge concern.
And we'd be willing to work with the city
Yeah.
for sure to address that concern. I understand and I hear your concern and I see what you're saying. And that light by Blue 42, with this facility, I think that would be a great option to work with the city with to create that.
What about maybe the house of
Yes, ma'am.
man?
So the House of Manna is as I stated, that's dependent on a lot of things. If we can allow, or if it doesn't cause too much concern with the House of Manna being there, then we would love the House of Manna to be able to be centralized there. But we do understand, and I hear your concerns when it comes to the traffic that the House of Manna could potentially bring to this facility.
The traffic isn't a big concern for me, it is the absolute mess out there.
And I hear that concern too, ma'am. And like I said, if that was the make or break deal for this facility, I've had conversations with the House of Manna to where they'd be okay staying where they're at.
Can I address that issue with the mess? Excuse me, the mess at House of Manna. A lot of that has to do with the fact that they just don't have any space to put in anything. If you've ever visited the House of Manna, they're,
I do, and I have taken things there, and
Okay.
I understand that, but the other thing is, people use it as a dumping ground.
you're right, they do.
And
Absolutely.
that is my concern. Not
Absolutely.
the fact that the house of man is there, I appreciate that it is there, I believe in it. But that is not something that needs to be in a residential area.
Right. Also, there's a new director at House of Manna, and I know that he's working very hard to establish a better rapport with the House of Manna. And again, a lot of that has to do with not being able to have 24-hour connectivity.
I'm sorry to sideline, Mr. Tippler.
Yep, so these are all just the traffic studies with the maps that we just went over. So in conclusion with this, what we are presenting today is not just a facility, it is a commitment to our community. It is a solution that addresses the problems we are already facing with homelessness, addiction, and behavioral health. This facility will not bring those issues here. They are already here. What we are doing is creating a safe, structured, and professional environment to respond to them. We are not asking for city or county funding to make this happen, and we have a long-term sustainability plan that protects our taxpayers while strengthening our community. This project reflects who we are as a city, compassionate, solution-focused, and committed to building a stronger future. We are ready to meet the challenges with accountability, collaboration, and care. We hope that after hearing all the facts, you see what we see, A chance to bring healing, hope, and safety to our neighborhoods while protecting the integrity of our community. So now we can open the floor for questions. Now, with the questions, if we could just have one individual at a time, and we will answer that question. And please, I'm asking for all respect from everybody in the room.
Absolutely.
His hand was up first. I'll come to you next. Yes, sir.
Okay, one of the first questions I would have is, if you apply common sense to this whole thing, you would never put it there. That facility is for, on the outskirts of the city, so that then people don't have an effect on the people that live there. Now you say, well, yeah, it's close to all Walmart and Cashwise and all that. But that's not the point. If you put this facility in there, and it goes bad because of the people that you're putting in there, you'll never undo it. That would become a ghetto area for Dickinson, and I don't know an area in Dickinson right now that's a ghetto area. But I know, just go to Vegas and drive through their areas, they bar their windows, the doors, and everything, and they're not protecting themselves against people coming in. It's against their neighbors. But what you're getting is you're going to create an area in Dickinson that you'll never turn it around after you see what happens. I've lived in big cities, lived in small ones. I'm from West Fargo, lived here 21 years. And this is a beautiful city, and it's a city that really respects their kids. You couldn't get a better city for what the parents do with their kids and everything.
I agree.
And that's the main thing. And don't ruin this city over it. This facility is a good facility for Dickinson, but it's the wrong location. You gotta use common sense. Common sense would just dictate you never put it there.
Sir, you lived in Fargo?
Huh?
You lived in Fargo before?
West Fargo.
Do you know where Lutheran Social Services is in Fargo and in West Fargo?
In South Fargo, yeah.
Okay, both of those are residential areas, and both of those provide 100% of the services that this is. The one in West Fargo is right by the Veterans Hall. It's right there downtown. Would you agree that that's a ghetto in both those areas?
No, I don't know, because I haven't been there for so long. I was there
It's not.
one time when it
They're
was all
very
dirt
nice
streets, so. I mean, there wasn't even a hard service street in town at one time.
And to answer part of your question, sir, so the special use permit that we are applying for must go under review on a yearly basis. So as you stated, if we create this and it doesn't work out, at that yearly review, the city can cancel everything that we have going on. So it's not something that if it doesn't go good, that we can continue to run this facility.
Well, politically, that never happens.
I have a question about that.
Oh, shoot.
About that specific thing you just said.
Yep, I'll come right back to you.
There's 79 rooms, what is your full capacity, number of people that would be in that facility at full capacity?
So with the 79 rooms, as I stated, not all of the rooms are rooms for individuals. Some of the rooms are offices, some of the rooms are treatment rooms. But I think when it came to the numbers, it was like 60 individuals between all three floors. Roughly 55 to 60 individuals.
Be full capacity?
Yes, ma'am.
No. Clarification on
I
that.
gotta give a fact here. I wanna give you a fact so you know what I'm talking about. I live in Frontier, and it's right in the middle of a drug problem. People don't even know. In Dickinson, most of you people don't even know. But believe me, you contact the police department and they'll tell you how many times I have had things going on that they have to come to. I've had them where they just last year take them out in handcuffs out of the building next to us. And there's a big drug problem that's been there for years, because I've had Corey Lee come there before he was even sheriff, when he was on the police department, because I've known him for years. And he'd come over and I'd show him, and then we had RVs parked in the parking lot that were selling drugs, and and the person that had the RV didn't even live there in that apartment building. And I witnessed it all, and I turned it over to the, police department and the sheriff's department. They've come there constantly. There's a problem in that area, and people don't know about it, and I just wanna expose it. You're
I
not
wanna
gonna-
comment on that.
Huh?
You're absolutely right. That's why we're sitting here today.
Right.
The epidemic's huge. Just in May, there was, and I got these statistics yesterday from the police department in Corey Lee. There was 81 arrests in May already for mental health and drug addiction. We can't incarcerate our way out of this problem. If we bury our heads in the sand and say it doesn't exist here, that's just us being stupid, but I understand that. I understand where,
Location,
I own 2
location.
businesses down the street.
But I know,
Yeah.
we
And,
know.
this facility doesn't scare me.
This facility is part of the solution, not the problem.
Correct.
Then why don't you build it out by your house?
Build it by your house, and I'll guarantee you, you wouldn't think.
I would build it by my house, sir.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes,
No,
you
no
would.
way.
For the
No,
homeless.
no.
I would, yes, you would.
It's offensive that you would tell us that we would not build this facility outside.
You won't build that, you would never build
Because
that,
where
So I
I
work-
live,
you wouldn't put that facility in downtown area and make that area be bad, which it isn't now, it's bad enough.
See, having these
But it's
facilities do
controlled.
not make an area bad. These people who go to these services, I really wanna address that
Okay,
comment.
here's,
Can I finish,
yeah,
please?
go ahead.
These do not make these people bad. Nobody wakes up in the mornings and says, I'm gonna be an addict today. They have trauma. They don't have parents. They have abandonment issues. And our goal is this facility is to help them overcome these issues so this drug problem in your community goes away. If we ignore it, it will get worse, and you're gonna have, instead of 80 arrests, you're gonna have 160 arrests next month.
Okay, I wanna know, where are you gonna get the people to come into, if you say you open that facility, where does the people come from?
Your
From our
community.
community.
Your community.
Here, here.
Your community.
No, I'm talking about, where do they come from?
They're here.
They are Dickinson natives.
sir, you just said yourself that they were in your neighborhood. They're already there.
I know, but where are they coming from that you would put them in that facility? Tell me.
Well, I'll just tell you this, as an employer, I have over 340 employees. Most of the time when I call Hope's Landing, there's not a bed available. I've taken people to the crisis center, not available. Stark County spends over $200,000 a year transporting people to Bismarck and Jamestown at our taxpayer expense for mental health and addiction issues. And guess what? When they're done with them, guess what they come back to? They come back here. They're here.
But they-
We're not running an ad in the Chicago Tribune or the Dickinson Press.
Isn't it
Is it
true?
running an ad
Yeah, but
welcoming people here as a bus stop?
isn't it true, a fact, that when they come out of prison or the jails and they're homeless, they're gonna be in that facility, right? Fact.
That's
Not
a,
necessarily.
that's a possibility,
It's a
It's a
possibility.
possibility, but no.
which would be a great facility to put them
Before
in.
they get out of prison
That's
and
what the city
incarceration,
wants.
they are
City's
met with a
looking
case
for
manager who does
Someplace for
relapse.
them to go.
The biggest
if that-
problem after they're
And that
incarcerated,
is not a good feeling.
Well, they're human
the biggest
beings,
problem
too.
that I've seen
As God
when
states.
people come out of jail
I know, but
is they don't have a permanent address. They go to Stark West, or Stark County, they get rental assistance, okay? They go into these apartments, whether they're northwest of you guys or south of town or in Heart River, there's lots of low-income housing. The problem that they have is they typically don't have any support structure. That's what this will provide. And instead of being on your tax dollar, they'll be on their dollar.
But why is it that nobody wants the facility in their area?
I don't know, you're the one telling us that you don't want it in your area. Tell me why.
Why? Because I live a block north.
How come everybody else is answering these questions when we're directing them to you?
Can I ask?
Can I I mean,
Well,
we don't know
to
anybody
be
over here
fair,
that's.
he's getting kind of barraged with questions and he's not able to answer all of them at the same time. To be fair.
Thank you.
I
As
feel
I
like
stated, if we could get one question at a time, these questions
Yeah.
would be a lot easier.
Well, I know, but
to
he's
answer.
been asking questions and everybody over here is blurting out answers. I mean, we wanna hear.
This is a public engagement meeting.
Okay, but I think they are directing questions to you guys.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to that map, because you showed Hope's Landing, you also showed the homeless center, or West. Is that the homeless shelter for the winter, is that gonna be shut down then? Because with the
Yes.
city, so that's gonna be shut down, so then Hope's Landing is still gonna be there?
Yes.
Because isn't the city and planning, when you guys put an ordinance that you cannot have another special use facility like this within 300 feet?
Yes, and it's not within 300 feet.
So if it's 305 or 320?
Say that again?
It's like 320 then, 350, it's a lot.
It's
It's
regardless
one lot.
of what it is, it's under the rules, regulations of where we can place this facility.
Okay, so that's where I come in, is that where my issue is we're putting so many of these facilities in one area, which then rates could go up, crime rate could go up. I'm hoping that these people get the help, I just think we already have low-income housing, like you said, so many, how much times now, plus the facilities that we already have there, then we're gonna add another one, to add in another 60 more people in that area already. So our housing values are already low as it is because of low income and then these facilities. Now, how much more is our housing?
I
As your
can
house-
address the housing values, because I polled to the city assessor, which is public record. And I just pulled Prairie and Sixth and 21st. The lowest increase that those houses experienced since 2016, since the homeless shelter's been there and the crisis.
Well, the homeless shelter's only there for the winter though. So you can't really call it a
Right.
homeless shelter. Because it's not used.
And on 21st,
Because it's
there,
not used.
the average increase every year is 16%. And the highest increase was in the 60%. So I don't know,
But you can't
and
count
as
it
I
as a
said at the
homeless shelter
planning
if
and
it's not
zoning,
running 20%.
all of our taxes have went up substantially.
Right.
And all of our property values in Dickinson went up substantially.
But this is gonna
And
be
this is because of what's going around us, you know, in the 7 counties with all the oil and all that. This, not only the opioid addiction and the mental health issues, but we're gonna experience higher property values, higher taxation.
Well,
And-
this is gonna increase our values. It's not gonna-
I don't believe so. Well,
I think so.
then you could call
I
Dakota and
only
thank him,
have
so
one-
you don't have to pay so
Well,
many
I've only
taxes.
done one day of study.
We lose
I
money
mean,
on our
if it's
property.
gonna decrease my house value and I gotta pay less taxes, I'd probably be happy about that, but.
No, but it's taking money out of our pockets though, if you do that, that's not
That's,
something to laugh
it's
at.
taking money out of our city.
I don't believe, from what the data, from when Hope's Landing and the Crisis Center and even Southwest District Health in there, the data doesn't show the property values went down.
Okay, can I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't wanna keep the ball rolling, but I wanted to go back to your comment about the special use and the review after a year. Sorry, guys, I can't see completely. What rights do we have as citizens, and maybe Jason can help answer this. What rights do we have as citizens when that review comes up? Who gets notified? And if this, I don't see it failing, but if it does fail and we have issues, where do we as citizens go
To the city.
for that annual review?
To the city.
To the city directly? So like to the planning and zoning, to the commission?
There's a code enforcement office
Yeah,
at the city.
code enforcement would have.
And
And
that's,
so that's where the complaints would go.
right,
Yes.
If this facility is not holding up their end of the bargain.
correct.
Yes.
The complaints would go there, but the grantor, when you're applying for grants, from what I've been able to determine talking to the Department of Health and Human Services, Behavior Health Division in Bismarck, is that any citizen at any time can go to the grantor and request information from the grantee, accepting, of course, confidential information.
Correct.
what grants
And,
were.
and also something that is on that point, through the grants that Dakota is getting, he's limited to how many homeless supportive care rooms he can do. And it can't intermingle with the mental health rooms and the rehabilitation rooms. Okay, so there's plenty of limitations that he's not talking about here.
And I'm
They
aware
are
of that.
absolutely right.
I worked a long time ago, back when St. Joseph's Hospital had an ADHU, which stands for Alcohol and Drug Abuse Treatment Unit, for those of you who weren't here back in the old days. Some of you, but, at that time, of course, there were grants and that type of thing, so I have some familiarity. Another thing that I know from working in that unit at the hospital is, I know that at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, it was mentioned that there would not be visitors, or not many, it was kind of dismissed, and we questioned how many visitors would be coming into the facility. I know that families and friends are an essential part of the rehab treatment program, so I know that those people will be coming in. Again, it's to go to the traffic things. Now, the numbers that I got from the city, Tracy, were a little bit different than the ones that you had up there.
These are directly from the
I've
DOT.
got the west, looking at the intersection of 21st and Highway 22. If you look at the west, and you don't have the intersection, if you look at the west one, coming directly from 21st Street, the numbers that I got from the city engineering department were 8,490 vehicles.
On which one, Ms. Miller? Which
The
one?
west,
The
it's the
10th
intersection.
by Century, or what, I don't even know what it's called.
No. If you take the intersection of Highway 22
Mhm.
and 21st Street West, there's 4 corners on an intersection.
Yep.
Look at the west one, which is the traffic coming eastbound on 21st.
So
The number
east-
that I got from the city was, city engineer, was 8,490 vehicles a day.
You're correct, it's 88, 20, and 23 that came down 21st.
And then going to east, 21st Street East, the number decreases because people come down 21st, heading to the
Yep.
east, and they veer off either north or south on Highway 22.
Which is 7188. And the passes that I guess were brought up at the planning and zoning were directly at 21st and 6th. And that is what I pulled directly in this report, that it went down a third.
And I'm looking at 21st and Highway 22, because of the pedestrian traffic, we know that there will be people walking to Walmart and so on and so
Sure.
forth. Now, going north and south, northbound is 10,455.
Right.
Southbound, which would be the north side of that intersection, is 13,930. Now, people crossing Highway 22 to get to Walmart or wherever, just to go for a walk, that's the concern, I believe, that you've been talking about.
Sure. As I stated, I don't have any
The numbers
accurate
on,
pedestrian counts.
the
The number
numbers
that
on-
you just referenced in 2014, for that traffic count going down 21st at that intersection was 14,169. So it is, look at my math, 6,200 passes
but
lower.
anyway, it was
than
just,
23.
those are a little bit different numbers, but they're comparable. And if you look at the numbers on Millard, they're bigger on
Oh, yeah,
that
it's much
intersection.
higher on the lot.
Which in Millard used to be considered a major. I mean, 21st Street West is, because of these numbers, and it was brought up at the planning and zoning, is a major transportation corridor. In fact, I would argue that it is the busiest transportation corridor in the city of Dickinson.
Well, I know which one that is now, because I did this with Josh the other day. It's actually on the east side of town, over by Lucky's, right where it winds off to go to the stockyards. that is one of the busiest intersections that is not regulated over by the House of Matter right now. And forgive me, I don't remember the numbers, but that is the next, call it major intersection that they're gonna address a need at.
I think we can agree that 21st Street
Mhm.
West is a major transportation corridor for the city of Dickens.
I don't disagree with you, and I think one of the things that this doesn't show is this is registered numbers in 12 to 14 before the bypass was built. You know, 15th out there by Menards, you know, just open book. You know, that took a lot of traffic off of States, 21st. And in just reviewing this with Josh, that when the bypass went in and went north, that
What year was that put in? Did
I
you
think it was
say?
15. I'm not sure. Do you remember, Jason?
Yeah, it's around
But
that
these
15.
numbers,
15.
these numbers are after that.
The 23 numbers, yes, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, so,
14 would be prior to that.
right, and so even after it was built, the numbers increased. The traffic counts increased.
Well, actually, they
That's what I
went
was saying.
down in 17 quite dramatically. I don't know why, you know, but in 17 they went down, and they've never rebounded to that capacity.
Well, I mean, I can tell you what
They went down to 2,804.
I can tell you what they were in 2020 as well.
Yeah,
You need to
there was
compare.
a 18% decrease at that intersection in
I've
17.
not been able to get it all
Why? I don't know.
of that. Anyway,
But there has been an increase every year since 17.
right, and I think that it's just, the point is, I don't think we need to belabor that particular point because there's more important things. But it's just that, like I said, when your numbers did not match with mine that I got from the city engineer, so I just wanted some clarification
Well,
on that.
I would believe that Josh probably pointed us to the same site. This is right from the North Dakota DOT. It's not,
Yeah, well, I mean, let's just
Yeah.
agree that there's a lot of traffic and that there's a potential for more pedestrian traffic. At the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the gentleman from Grand Forks stated that there would not be a lot of additional vehicle traffic because his number was 10%. He said about 10% of the people who would be residents at your facility would have vehicles.
Correct.
Which means 90% of them are gonna be pedestrians.
So
I mean,
is your
there's
concern
two
somebody
sides.
getting hit?
Yes,
Or,
there's two
but
sides
no
to that
concern
point.
for anybody with mental health or
I mean, you
well, I
know
hope that becomes really busy with Harbor Freight and TJ Maxx going in so we can get a good steakhouse up there.
I mean, people are gonna need to get out, they're gonna need to go somewhere, and if only 10%, and it's an arbitrary number. I know the gentleman from Grand Forks threw that out, it's not a hard and fast number, but it's all I have to go on, because that was what he presented at that meeting, was the 10%. So, like I said, that means 90% of them are walking.
Yes.
And-
Correct.
And so there's what we're talking about, or what's being talked about as far as pedestrian traffic.
Correct.
So,
Now you have to imagine, not all of these individuals are going to be walking at the same time. The second floor at a treatment, inpatient treatment, they're pretty much in the building most of the day. The individuals in the supportive housing, transitional housing on the third floor, I highly doubt are going to take group walks together to the community. So it's really not going to increase that much pedestrian traffic. It'd be no different if all of those apartments north of that facility got filled with individuals and they decided to go on their little journeys of walking wherever they went. I do understand and I do agree with your concern that it is going to increase the amount of pedestrian traffic, but I also believe that there's a way to get around with that intersection, as stated when we discussed with her, potentially working with the city to put up one of those traffic signs that's like on there by Blue 42.
And they also use 23rd Street now because our increased traffic has gotten so high, it's just getting higher, and we already can't have our children go outside. People drive 40 miles an hour down the street.
And then once again, that's with
There's gonna be something to help with
with 5% to 10% of the individuals not
I'm just
having.
saying people are gonna get alternate routes, so they know that intersection is busy, that's why they already use that street. They wanna avoid that busyness.
And I hear your concern, ma'am, but as I stated, with this type of facility, not very many of these individuals are going to have vehicles,
And
so.
if I can, I have a couple other questions.
And we can come back to you, but this gentleman right here was waiting for quite a minute to ask a question.
Okay, my question is twofold. As somebody involved in the recovery community, I think this is really important, right? And it is here, you guys. It's not like, I mean, I work with people all the time, and I know Tracy does, and I know that, right? One thing is, all of these services already exist at some level in Dickinson. Okay, so with the amount of money that you guys are bringing into this project, right? Could we funnel that money to other places and, bolster those services instead of this project? One thing that does with property values, everyone who's concerned about property values, an empty giant building like that will hurt your property values as well. And something's gonna go in there, right, one way or the other. The other thing too is, your scope of your project is pretty big. You're trying to do a lot of things. You're trying to do treatment, you're trying to do jail, halfway house, you're trying to do sober living, you're trying to do potentially House of Mana, and you're potentially doing mental health stuff, right? All at the same facility. And sometimes when you mix all those things, it's not a good mix. That's why we have sober living separate, that's why we have a crisis center, that's why we have a homeless shelter, right? How are you gonna manage having all of those different things in one building, in one area?
So with that, as stated, when it comes to the SWMCCC, they're their own entity. They do their own thing on the second floor. United Way is going to case manage the emergency shelter and the transitional and supportive housing on the third floor. Now, if you're to look at any of these other big facilities around the state, the halfway houses, the big sober living houses, the share houses, they are ran and they also deal with the substance abuse as well as the diversion programs, the justice involvement, all within the same facilities, and they're ran rather smoothly and correctly.
Is your facility gonna be 100% sober?
So due to the grant rules of the emergency shelter side of this, that is a low barrier shelter, so it's a housing first model. So if they come there under any condition that they're in. That's why I made this emergency shelter the smallest part of the facility, which is only the 13 rooms.
So what's their timeline to, for example, not to steal the floor, but at the sober houses, right, so they do a drug alcohol screening weekly or sometimes daily, right? It's kind of self-regulated, you're correct, at a sober house. So one of the other participants in the sober house says, hey, I think this guy's using, they test him, right?
Yes.
And then they're out immediately. What's your model for that?
So when it comes to that, the great thing about this facility is we're going to provide the case management. The last thing we're trying to do is put these individuals back on the street homeless. Now, if they break a rule or they aren't able to be in the facility anymore, that's where our case management steps in and helps guide these individuals to where they need to go.
So what's the next, it's great to say we have case management, but what's the steps? Like, what is the solution then? So, the other thing that happens in these types of facilities is, you have potential for abuse of any kind, right? Physical, mental, whatever. And then, of course, drug and alcohol abuse. So we say, John Q. Public comes in, he goes through your case management, he's homeless, you put him in your homeless transition deal, you realize he needs treatment, you put him in treatment, then he goes into halfway house, right? Or into the supportive care facility, as you call it. So then he goes into there, and he still has a problem, right? Now he relapses. What's the next step?
So the great thing about this facility is it's an at-will facility. This isn't prison. This isn't forced upon anybody whatsoever. So a lot of, if not a majority of these individuals that are in this facility want to be there. So they're going to want to follow the rules, knowing that if they don't follow the rules, they are going to have to be potentially back out onto the streets. We're not going to be able to help everybody. That's just not logical.
Yeah, you can't help people.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You absolutely cannot help people that don't want the help. But I believe that providing a facility like this and giving that option for individuals that want to be there, that want to change their lives, that get the blessing of case management right away, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of these individuals have never had the help or the opportunity to receive any type of help. They don't know. Some of them just don't know. So when they walk into that door and they find out that, hey, you can do better, you can be better, a lot of them are going to want to, like as she stated earlier, nobody wants to live, a majority of people don't want to be homeless. They definitely don't want to be addicts. They don't want to live that type of rough lifestyle. But at the same time, a lot of them don't know what to do or how to change. Now, providing the lived experience side of individuals that will be able to step up and show them that, hey, I've been where you are, and I've made it out, and I can be successful, that really plays a big role in a lot of people's recovery.
To reiterate what Dakota said, one of the biggest problems us case managers have is people don't know we're there. So a facility like this, we can go to the people and get them the case management that they need. Yes, it's centralized, so.
Absolutely.
So
I
are they?
We will-
I had a question.
What?
Or
second, yeah.
actually, it's a comment.
Can we, her and then over to you? She's had her hand up back there for a
Mine
while.
kind of follows the same thing. So like, so if somebody comes in and they have, you know, like if they're an addict or have mental health issues, and you realize they need help and they don't want it, and you basically you're just saying like they can't be there then.
So,
And then they're just.
could you speak up a little bit?
So if you're saying somebody comes in like with, as an addict or, you know, mental health issues, and you realize they need help and they don't want to get the help, they're not, do you still help them then?
As a case manager myself, I absolutely am going to do what I can to provide services to these individuals.
But if they don't want the help, then they don't.
You can't force anything upon them.
So if somebody, I just was concerned with like somebody doesn't want the help and then they're trying to be in that area to get like the shelter, are they gonna?
So I see what you're saying, and absolutely, as a,
Just the fear of like having, you know, somebody, cause I'm not recovering alcoholic myself,
yes, ma'am.
addiction. And what people can do when they want, when they need something and, you know, it's just, I've seen it happen, it's happened with friends and stuff where somebody will just.
so with,
I just didn't know if they're gonna receive any help if they're just basically turned away.
no, absolutely not. So, as I stated, we are going to provide case managers. As a case manager myself, when these individuals walk into the door, if they don't want the help, I'm still going to provide or present the help and the options to these individuals. Now, what they choose to do is solely their choice, but I truly believe from experience that providing those services or offering those services and services that never maybe that they knew about, that like I said, if we can do what we can do, but if they choose not to accept it, then that's their choice. Does that answer your question?
I might not have asked, I didn't know if it was public speaking.
No, you're okay. I understand you. 1 second. 1 second.
I just wanted to make a comment about the comment that the gentleman made about, you know, all these different services. Well, mental health and addiction they're co-occurring. So addressing all that in one facility and having, it's called wraparound services. So in one facility, that's what's gonna benefit the community. That's what's gonna benefit the individuals inside this facility as a whole, is having everything a one-stop shop, so.
So to go off of that, with what I do with a lot of these individuals that we work with that are already in our community, a big barrier that hurts these individuals is when they come to my agency or to a different agency, and then they have to go to a different agency and then to a different agency, and when they're in the middle of their addiction or in the middle of their mental health issues that they're dealing with, the last thing that they need is to get the runaround. So being able to provide those services all at one facility is going to really increase the chances of helping these individuals.
Can I just make a statement? And no question.
Yes, sir. 1 second. After this lady right here. Yes, ma'am.
I just have, one question, so are they able to come and go as they please?
So when it comes to the transitional and supportive housing on the 3rd floor, those individuals are going to be a part of our community. Those individuals are going to be more or less living there, going into the community to work, to do as they, like you and I do. That's the whole purpose of what we're doing on that floor. The second floor, the treatment facility, no, they cannot come and go. That is the rules of inpatient treatment. On the first floor, the emergency shelter, due to the rules and regulations of the grant that we are able to receive, that is what they can do. As I stated, that is the smallest portion of this facility.
So there will be the homeless factor coming in and out.
That's,
That building, waiting for rooms. Okay, I have this vision, and forgive me if I'm wrong,
you're okay.
of homeless people gathered all around the exterior of the building, waiting for a room, because you only have 13 things, and other ones coming out, and that is a factor that I am very concerned about. We have children in our neighborhood, we have people that walk our neighborhood for exercise, for their dogs. I mean, we live in our neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am.
And as a real estate agent for many years, this is another portion that bothers me a lot. When I'm selling a home to a client, the first thing they're looking about and we're concerned about is the environment of that neighborhood. And this is not something that is conducive to an environment in our neighborhood. You have a set of condominiums right behind that are $300,000 places, and that unit is going to be looking right down into that condominium. You've got homes that people have built down into the community in the last 10 years that are brand new, very nice homes. You have other people that have worked very hard to bring their homes back from when the 90s and all of that garbage took place. They've reestablished their little homes, they're beautiful little yards, they're upkept, and we have a really, really nice, comfortable community in our neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am.
And that has nothing to do with what's going on down by the Lutheran Church, that facility. We have been able to tolerate and work with the people in the House of Hopes or whatever that place is called. And, but to bring in something this big into the neighborhood isn't a good fit. It's not a good fit.
So
People talk about
when we took over and
money.
started to build Harbor Freight, do you know how many homeless people were living in the old Dan's building?
I have no idea. A good amount.
There was a good amount, a really good amount, a surprising amount. It took us a week and a half to get all the homeless people out of there. And when we built Legacy Square right here, Josh and those guys can comment, the Dickinson Police Department can comment. We had homeless issues of people trying to live in this facility. And just this last winter, it happened again right here at Legacy Square. That they were breaking in the building. So you might have it if the building's empty anyways.
We don't have a residential situation around that building. And I know that it is not conducive to making property values go up.
So as I stated at the beginning of the presentation, this isn't going to be, and I know you have that vision, but it's not going to be a tent city. There are going to be rules within this facility. These individuals come into the emergency shelter, they get the case management, the resources provided to them right away, and they can go up into the transitional supportive housing. There's not, so if this facility was ran the way that we're describing it, and it was clean outside, and there wasn't people running all over it as you were visioning, would you be okay with it?
I don't know.
Dakota, I can speak to, having worked at the shelter for 16 years, I can tell you that we have never had people congregate out of the shelter. We've never had tents. So maybe that answers the question, Phyllis. That doesn't exist. We've built a brand new shelter right across from the hospital, and in the 5-6 years we've been there, I think twice we've had somebody sleeping in our entryway, and they were by way of the emergency room. So, I mean, we don't have it. We have a 28-bed shelter, and we've had up more of 40 people in there, and I can tell you that we don't have people congregating.
And as a lot of us, I mean, we're all from Dickinson here. We have 8 months of cold weather. People congregating outside isn't going, that's not logical. That's not going to happen.
Well, here was a very, very big concern for me just about 2 weeks ago. They ran a clip from KXMA TV about the United Way Center in Bismarck. They have to close it down during the day because it's understaffed, they can't get staffing. what makes you think you can get the staffing here?
So I've actually been to that shelter in Bismarck, the United Way shelter, and the difference between this shelter and that shelter and why this one will be successful is because of the services that we provide at this facility. The staffing, I believe, and I know that we can get because I've already had conversations with many people in our community that are more than willing to step up and work at this facility that they believe in.
Those services are already.
To be correct,
One second, ma'am. Go ahead.
that one in Bismarck, if I'm correct, is just a transitional housing shelter, correct?
No, ma'am. That is actually a high barrier facility is what that one is.
Okay, so what does that mean?
So the high barrier means you have to be screened and they don't accept certain individuals into the facility.
So that's completely different than,
100% different than
This
this facility.
okay, I just want to be clear on the difference.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, will there be like a fence or something around?
Yes, ma'am. So as of right now, there's already a fence on the west side of the building, but I do plan on putting a fence on the north side of the building, to a privacy fence for the neighborhood's privacy is my plan.
Okay, and I'm guessing there's gonna be cameras.
There's gonna be cameras all
Better
over.
lighting.
There's gonna be lighting, and then as I presented in my presentation, there will be lighting and cameras and security.
There's a
all over.
limitation
Well, I
on,
just seen the cameras were in.
there's a limitation on lightings because it is a residential neighborhood.
That's what I asked question, was the lighting gonna be?
We will do what we can with that. Yes,
I've
ma'am.
got some information for you. If you wanna see what it's gonna look like outside of the building on the sidewalks, man, go to the Patterson Hotel, downtown Bismarck, park your car and just watch. You'll be amazed at the problems they have on that sidewalk.
Here's my question for you. Have you seen, as she said, have you seen the DBRCC in our community? Have you seen what it looks like outside? It looks very nice. It looks like an amazing building, and it also is a
Well, I'm
shelter.
not talking about, I'm talking about if you wanna visualize, I want these people to know, you can do it on yourself. Just go park by the Patterson Hotel and just watch the people that come out of the building there, and I don't even know what all is living in there. I know it's seniors, but there might be others, I don't. But just look at the atmosphere. You wouldn't even wanna walk through there as a pedestrian.
I do. One second. One second.
Why do you believe that is what will be here at this junior?
I do
Because
believe-
the people are not gonna stay in that building all day long. They're gonna be out on the sidewalk and walking around.
It's a security.
As I said, if you were to look at the
You can sugarcoat it
DBRCC,
all you want, but I know what's gonna happen, cause I've seen it in other cities.
Let me just, I live in Bismarck, I'm here because I am one of the grantors, helping fund this shelter. So, I live in Bismarck, I walk downtown Bismarck, I'm in Patterson all the time, I'm never afraid to walk down there,
Well, I've seen
whether
this
it's
one.
day or night.
thank you, Chanel. Ma'am, in the white skirt.
You had a question?
You're not only gonna get people from Dickinson for this help, they're gonna be bringing them from Bismarck or wherever. Oh, they have this facility, let's go there, and you're gonna have a mess.
I don't.
There's enough clients in this area
There's more than
that
enough.
we have wait lists at all of our treatment centers here for substance abuse treatment, that our beds for treatment will be full with Dickinson natives.
Absolutely, and as I stated, the emergency shelter is only 13 rooms. I don't foresee individuals busing or coming here to come into our facility. The services that we provide are already services within this community. We're not changing anything other than that. The only thing that's changing in this facility is adding 13 rooms of an emergency shelter. That's it. All the other services are between the sober living houses, and the treatment facility. It's already here in this community. We're just putting it into a centralized location.
My other question was, you had put on there about, 24/7 staffing and all this. Is that your hope, or is that something you can guarantee?
That is a guarantee. That's part of. So with the special use permit, with what I put onto this board, with what I put through my presentation on the special use permit, we have to go by that, by what we put.
It was a concern of like, if you wanted it to be
Yes, ma'am.
It turns out, oh, we don't have enough staffing, so we're only gonna be open overnight. I just wanted to ensure.
Which is why I also put in the presentation, full capacity, half capacity, quarter capacity. And your concerns are very valid, ma'am, and I appreciate them.
Dan, you're next.
Yeah, so I get a lot of concern with some of us in that neighborhood are, you have security inside the building, and you already said you'll have some criminals versus addicts, you'll have legitimate people that have no problem. But can you guarantee that my granddaughter, if she walks down the street, she doesn't have to worry about somebody coming out of that facility?
So my question to you, sir, is can you guarantee that right now without that facility?
Right, you have protection in the facility, but there's nothing in our neighborhood to keep somebody from walking down our streets and our kids have to worry about somebody coming up to them.
And I hear what you're saying, sir, but like I said, can you guarantee right now without that facility being there that that would not happen to your
Yeah,
granddaughter?
because we have, the probability is there, it's the location is our,
These-
it's not your facility, it's the location.
These individuals are already in our community. They're already in, they have no services
But
provided.
you want to add more to our facility, to our area. Right now, we know there's some there, everybody watches our street, and they watch who's coming down, they keep an eye on everything. But now you wanna add a lot more to our area. So I'm asking you, why can't you find one spot, another location?
As I stated, it's hard to determine or for you to pick and choose with the surrounding neighborhood who's doing what inside their apartments, inside their houses. You're not exactly sure what's going on. I do believe that providing these facilities, as stated, as she said earlier, in the old hospital, there's 2 treatment facilities, 2 daycares, and so what you're saying to me is that same population of individuals you're talking about are surrounding 2 daycares in a facility right now, and there has been 0 issues at all.
Right, but you wanna add more, is our concern to our area.
It's not adding more, it's moving a location to, they're already here.
Okay, but it still comes down to,
No,
we
that's the same.
don't feel secure with this facility coming to our area.
And I hear your concern, sir, I do. But as an individual that has been to multiple facilities throughout the state of North Dakota, from halfway houses to sober living houses to treatment facilities, and I'm not saying that the possibility couldn't happen, but not one time have I heard of the population of individuals that you're speaking of create big problems in the neighborhoods that they're residing in. It's a solution. It's helping the problem that's already in our community.
Like you said, after a year, for some reason it's not working, then.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that is, and I would expect my community, the community that I live in, that I have a family in, that I also have children in, for you guys to reach out to the city, to reach out to the proper authorities if there's a problem at this facility. I wouldn't expect you guys to hide anything. I wouldn't expect you guys to not be concerned if you feel that something's going wrong. I'm not trying to put this facility in this community to create problems. That's the last thing that I'm doing. If there are problems that arise, I would expect and I would want my community to bring that up to the proper individuals.
Sorry, I have some.
No, I'm sorry, one second.
Oh, go ahead.
Who was it?
The question I pose is, are the homeless a part of this community?
In Dickinson? As somebody that works with the homeless population, the homeless is a very big part of our community.
Okay, so they are citizens within the United States living in this city.
Yes.
So then they have same rights as everyone else.
Yes.
Am I correct? So if that is the case, shouldn't we advocate for an area that would give them services?
Which is what we're doing.
Right, which is what you're doing. If we were to put at this building in a location that's maybe some may suggest, such as way out there by American Smitty, Ford dealership, all that, would that really benefit that particular population?
No.
That would not, because they do not have services.
Correct.
A majority of the people who are homeless do not have vehicles. I would like to share a testimonial really quick from someone I personally helped on my own time. I used to work for a public service agency. I had gotten out of the jail and was going on my way home. It was in January. It was -30 out. This man was wandering. He had no ID because
They're checking on it right now.
somebody he used to live with
That's
had
why
it.
Natalie went
He wasn't
back.
able to get access. He was scared to death. He had no money. He was left homeless. Hope's Landing was full. All the public service agencies were closed at the time because nothing was open on weekends. And I helped him. He sent me a message on Facebook. Hi, this is Josh Schultz. I wanted to give you an update. I've been working for Shane Plumbing since April. I have my own place now and a vehicle. Probation is going great, and I look forward to the future. I would not be this far, even close, if you did not help me that day. From the bottom of my heart, I wish you and your family the best. I helped him that day. I called everybody I could. Churches were closed, so I found a few individuals that would pay for a hotel for him. That Monday, I got him set up with probation and parole through Free for Recovery, and I just had connections, and so I was able to help him. But in any other case, if I wouldn't have met him that day, he would have been homeless in -30-degree temperatures, and his life matters just like ours does. I would like to share one more thing. This is something very personal, but I really would ask that people would really consider what these words say. Isaiah 58:7 says, share your food with the hungry. Give shelter to the homeless. Give clothes to those who are in need. And do not hide them from your relatives who need help. So if any of us consider our faith something of worth, God commands us to help those who are homeless.
Amen.
Real quick, I'm gonna jump in here. Just so everyone knows, we're coming up on 8:30, so just got about 15 minutes left. We want some kind of closing thoughts.
Thank you, Adam.
I actually have a question from somebody who's watching online.
Yes, ma'am.
Then it has to do with how long will treatment be for each individual as far as the treatment for the drug and rehabilitation?
Treatment?
So, my name is Allison Warner. I'm the clinical director at the SWMCCC Community Treatment Program, and we are a branch of the county jail here. So, we take work-release inmates, we take people on probation and parole, and we also take federal pretrial people living in your community, as well as people off the streets. Our 2.1 treatment is the intensive outpatient, and that is about 8 weeks long. Now, with that being said, I kind of want to bounce off like what happens if they relapse during their treatment, right? If I have somebody who relapses in their IOP treatment, I reassess them and I'm going to put them in a higher level of care and keep them in treatment longer because I don't feel like they're ready to get out in the community to keep themselves safe as well as keep the community safe. Now, if I had to put them up into inpatient, that's on a need-to basis. We make treatment plans. They could be there in my inpatient treatment for 2-3 months, and then they have to drop down to my outpatient treatment for another 8 weeks, and then they have to drop down to my aftercare treatment for at least 10 weeks. So I could have them close to half a year to a year in treatment. Once again, that also has to say, if I don't feel like they're ready to complete treatment just because their 8 weeks is up and their due date is done, I will keep them in longer to keep themselves safe as well as the community safe. I'm not going to put somebody out in the transitional living or in their own apartments when I know that they are probably going to go back and relapse that same day. It's not safe for y'all here, right? But it's not safe for them too. They're human just like I am, and I want to keep them safe. I want to keep them alive. I want to keep them safe. The stories that she shared with her client, we receive those messages every single day with our clients. So we keep them in treatment for a long time. We really get to know these people, and we get them the help that they need. So treatment's a very long process. Definitely at least like 6 months. I would say if they start inpatient, then go to outpatient, and then aftercare.
For the whole, like, I guess.
The whole shebang, yeah. So so it's a step down ladder process, right? If you're an inpatient, we're gonna step you down to the next level of care, which would be the IOP, which is 9 hours a week. Then you go into your aftercare.
So typically around 6 months on average?
If they start at inpatient, if they were to start at the highest level, yes.
Now, inpatient's the only part where they're living in that facility unless they are in the transitional or supportive housing on the 3rd floor. If they are outpatient or aftercare, they come from the community, they're part of the community.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Scott Collins, I'm with the F5 Project, I'm the Chief Development Officer. I'm out of Fargo, but we have offices across the state of North Dakota. I just want to let you guys know what you're doing here is amazing. And I understand the concerns. I'm a recovering alcoholic myself. I was a former probation officer. To have these services available to the people that are in need, the community support that is being provided. I'm talking about Fargo's a big city. We've got a really big homeless issue. And we've been talking about doing something like this for the community, but it just keeps getting bigger. So for the community of Dickinson to be willing to move forward with something like this, I'm just telling you, it's big. And
I agree with you, sir. Don't you think, we have to watch out where we put these facilities for the safety?
that's always gonna be an issue. It's always gonna be an issue where we place it. We can't.
Right here, and I wonder how many people in here right now would be willing to sign a petition to stop the city from approving the special use permit.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no, is there gonna be a stoplight put in that intersection?
So we just discussed that, and I would be more than willing to. So a stoplight, that has nothing to do with the city. That Tracy can explain the stoplight situation.
The stoplight situation, that comes from the North Dakota DOT traffic counts. It's way low for a traffic light. Yeah, way low.
Yeah. But a pedestrian walk light is something that we can work on.
What a lot of people are concerned about is people milling around outside. You have people that are like lowest level of treatment. I forgot what you call that.
Aftercare? Aftercare?
Aftercare.
Yes, ma'am.
Are they gonna have to seek out employment?
Absolutely. So,
I think people are worried, you know, there's a lot of businesses up in that area, as well as the homes. Are they able to wander around, or they go in and out of businesses, milling around?
yes.
They have a purpose, they can keep them busy.
So absolutely, that is a wonderful question. So when it comes to the supportive housing, the 3rd floor, these individuals are going to have to be working in our community. That's the whole purpose. So hypothetically, let's just say that they come in, they have no identification, no birth certificates, no anything like that. They come into our facility, we provide them the services, they get all of that stuff. They go up to the supportive housing because they've been homeless, they have nowhere to live. They're in the supportive housing, the transitional housing, whatever you want to refer to it as, and they are members. The purpose of the case management is to provide them these services to help them get jobs in the community. They will be paying a income-based rent on that floor, and obviously, as you know, in order to pay the rent, you have to be working. The individuals in the aftercare that you speak of went through potentially inpatient treatment, outpatient treatment, and now they're at the last phase of their treatment, which is the aftercare. They're living in our community, whether they're at this facility or in your backyard or your neighbor, and they will come for their scheduled time of treatment and then go back. Now, once again, we can't force these people to, the ones that aren't living in our facility, to work, but living in this facility, in the transitional supportive housing, the purpose of what we are doing by providing this case management and these resources is to get these individuals to be doing or living exactly like you or I.
I think that is what a lot of people are worried about.
Well, yeah, yes, ma'am, and your concern is valid. And yes, ma'am. Right here, you said?
So earlier you mentioned that some folks are needing, in order to receive treatment or help, are being, transported to other areas in the state to receive that treatment. So thinking on that, when your facility is at a lower capacity, at that quarter capacity or what have you at a given time, are you considering that you may take other individuals from other communities who are in need of assistance that don't have anything in that area?
So it depends on what type of assistance. If it's treatment and we have a spot open at the treatment bed and they're human just like you or I and they have nowhere else to go in the state and they need somewhere to go, absolutely we will take those individuals. But that doesn't mean we're not going to provide them the same services that we provide our local individuals. Now, with these people coming here, we're not, I know a big concern that's been put out through the Facebook or whatever is people thinking we're gonna they have busfuls of people into our community, and that's not what we're doing. For one, we don't have the room for that, and as stated before, there's enough, I work in this field, I see what's going on here. We have more than enough individuals in our backyard to fill this. If I was to open this at full capacity right away, I can almost guarantee you it would be all Dickinson residents within this facility in a matter of 2 weeks.
And you feel you'll stay full primarily from that, is what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. Which one?
I know there's a lot of people that never talk.
Yeah, 1 second. Mr. Brown. I think I have time for one more question. Your hand's been up for quite a while.
So what would your success rate be?
That's a tough question. My success rate or the facility's success rate? I mean, that's...
Kelly, what I can do is I can get you our facility success rate as we'll be going into to be providing treatment, and our success rate has been, I did all the data because of the biennium stuff, and I can get that to Dakota to get to you if you would like.
Yeah, do you have a rough estimate?
No, I don't. I've been on vacation for the past week, so I'm just getting back into work mode. But it is good. I did talk to Tom Earhart from the DOCR's head of phone probation, and out of all the DOCR programs that we do have, our program is we do have the highest success rate here in town at our community treatment program throughout the whole state of any Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation programming, to include halfway houses as well.
And I can tell you the success rate is a whole lot better than it would be for these individuals without providing them those services. Yeah, yes, sir. So I believe we have run out of time. I do want anybody and everybody to know I'm not a closed individual. By all means, I put my personal number, my email on Facebook, and I will give it to you all again if you guys want to know. If you guys want to reach out, you have any questions, comments, or concerns, it's 701-690-4536. That's 701-690-4536. My email is Dakota, just like the state, DAKOTA, .unitedway@gmail.com. If there's any comments, questions, concerns, I would love to sit down and work with the community on creating a successful facility. I'm not trying to do this behind anybody's eyes. I'm not trying to sneak this by anybody. If you have a valid concern, if you truly want to know what we're trying to do with this facility, or if you think that something could be different, I'd be more than willing to sit down and conversate with you. All I'm saying is we have this problem here. We have these individuals here. Let's provide them a facility where it's a one-stop shop where all of these individuals can get the help that they need. I know a lot of you people are saying that, oh, we believe we need this facility, just not in my area. Well, with the special use permit and with it having a yearly review, why not give it a shot? Why not try it? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But to be able to know as a human being, as a Christian myself, that I went and I did what I'm supposed to do by giving it a shot, by giving these individuals the opportunity, that's what we're supposed to do as humans. I believe Dickinson, North Dakota, which I've lived here for 28 years, is a good place where we come together as a community. Not one time have I ever thought that people from Dickinson were pushing individuals away from needing help. Like I said, you guys have my information. You guys have any way to get a hold of me, any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
The big thing has been thrown in our faces. It's not that we're uncaring, it's not that we're not Christian.
I'm not throwing it in your face, ma'am. I'm
You
not.
know, as Christian community, we believe in